After we moved into our new place, my boyfriend organized a housewarming. A few rounds in, everyone started playing Spin the Bottle with Truth or Dare. When the bottle stopped on his childhood friend Melissa, she got the dare to reveal 3 secrets about people in the room. She smirked. That's easy. David's been sneaking around on his wife with a new fling. Mike got caught keeping girls on the side, 3 women beat him up together, and he even landed in the hospital. She paused, then fixed her gaze on Ethan. Ethan, your girlfriend's here. If I tell your secret, you won't mind, right? Ethan's expression stiffened. Don't talk nonsense. Melissa waved it off. Come on, it's just a game. Then she said, Ethan has a mole down there, touch it, and he shivers. Everyone perked up immediately. How do you know that? Someone asked. I've seen it, Melissa answered. You've seen it? How? Not only have I seen it, I've slept with him, she said without shame. Back when we were teenagers, you know how it is. Just watching a video wasn't enough. We were good brothers, of course we helped each other out. Afterward I got a perfect look. That was my first time, so really, Ethan, you got the bargain. She even kicked him lightly after saying it. A few of Ethan's buddies burst out laughing. One of them teased, so the golden years of his life all went to you, Melissa. Melissa kept joking along, then suddenly turned to me. Jenny, don't take it to heart. We were just kids, curious and clueless. Now we're only friends. Besides, his grades were so terrible I already looked down on him. The other childhood friends hurried to smooth things over. We can all vouch for it. Ethan and Melissa are clean. If there had been something between them, Jenny, it wouldn't be your turn now anyway. They kept making light of it, but Ethan noticed my face and glared at them. Can you stop exposing me? If my wife gets upset, we're not brothers anymore. His tone was sharp, but he was still smiling. Melissa snorted. So you'd rather betray your friends for a woman? After how good I've been to you? Then, barefoot, she kicked Ethan in the face, her temper blazing. That was the last straw for me. I grabbed my glass and smashed it hard on the floor. Get out of my house. The room went dead silent. Melissa sneered. Seriously, we were just joking. Do you have to ruin the mood? What, Ethan, now that you're dating, you're going to ditch all of us? Ethan glared at her. Melissa, shut up. My wife comes first. You all should leave. Don't cause trouble here. The group exchanged looks. They couldn't win this fight, so Melissa snapped. Fine, we're leaving, and the others followed her out of my home. Jenny, I'm sorry. Ethan edged over like a big guilty dog. That was all in the past. Melissa and I are just friends now. I never once thought of her as a woman. If I'm lying, may I die a miserable death. He pulled my hand to his face. Hit me. Get it out of your system. Anywhere she kicked me, I already feel disgusted. I didn't hit him. I looked at him coldly. If you want me to calm down, delete her from your WeChat. Don't contact her again. His face darkened. You're forcing me. She's a good girl, just blunt, and she already has a boyfriend. You're jealous for nothing. Fine, I said evenly. If I'm forcing you, then we won't get married. I yanked my hand away and walked straight to the door. Jenny, are you done yet? He shouted after me, but the slam of the door drowned out his voice. I went straight to my best friend's place. My best friend listened to everything that happened and hesitated. Are you really not going to marry him? Ethan treats you pretty well, we've all seen it. Yes, Ethan has always been good to me, I admitted. We were college classmates, though I was a year younger. On the very first day of freshman registration, he fell in love with me at first sight and chased me relentlessly for 2 whole years. After we finally got together, he treated me like I was the most precious thing in the world. If I so much as mentioned craving something, he'd wait in line for 4 hours to get me some trendy dessert. He worked part-time jobs for an entire month just to buy me a ticket to my favorite concert. When my parents disapproved of him for not having good enough prospects, he knelt outside our house all night, begging them to let us be together. To ease their worries, he used all his savings to pay the down payment on a house, and the deed was written in my name. In everyone's eyes, he was the perfect boyfriend. And it was precisely because of that perfection that I couldn't tolerate a single grain of sand in my eyes. 2 people who had already been in bed together could never be just friends. It had to be either her or me. 2 hours later, I got a text from Ethan. Baby, I was wrong. You're right, I have no sense of boundaries. I've already deleted Melissa and I'll never contact her again. Attached beneath his message was a screen recording showing him deleting Melissa's WeChat. Baby, don't be upset with me. Tomorrow we still need to take our beautiful wedding photos together. Reading it, my anger finally softened a little. My best friend, sitting beside me, couldn't help sighing. Jenny, how on earth did you manage to train Ethan like this? Even though I still felt uneasy, I knew the past couldn't be changed. He hadn't actually done anything unforgivable, and in the end, I chose to forgive him. The next day, I arrived at the bridal photography studio on time, ready to take our wedding pictures. An hour passed and Ethan still hadn't shown up. I called dozens of times, but every call came back with the same message: the user was busy. My heart sank as I opened our shared location app. My chest tightened. He was at the hospital. Fear jolted through me, my hands and feet going numb as I panicked, thinking something terrible had happened to him. I rushed to grab a cab straight there. But just as I reached the hospital entrance, I spotted a painfully familiar figure. Ethan wasn't hurt at all. He was completely fine. The one who had come to the hospital was Melissa. Ethan was holding her tightly in his arms. One hand was supporting her waist, the other shading her from the sun. A sharp pain stabbed straight through my chest. Instinctively, I wanted to turn and run, but I forced myself to face it and walk toward them. Before I could say anything, Ethan's eyes went wide in shock. He instantly let go of Melissa. Baby, why are you here? Let me explain. I locked my eyes on his. All right then, explain. I thought you were still angry with me, that you wouldn't come for the wedding photos today. Melissa just happened to have something happen, so I came to be with her. He stammered. I laughed bitterly. So the man who swore to me last night that he'd never contact Melissa again, what was that, a joke? Melissa's face turned pale, and weak as she looked, she still stepped up to defend him. Watch your mouth. Ethan's already given you enough face. He deleted my main account just to placate you. I sneered. Oh, I get it now. He deleted your main account, but there's still another one. As long as you two want to talk, there's nothing I can do to stop it. Melissa pressed on, aggressive. We're the ones who truly grew up with him. We're the friends who went through his entire youth. You've only known him a few years, yet you think you can keep him all to yourself? If we hadn't all agreed back then, you and Ethan would never have even gotten together. Her words were sharp and domineering while Ethan spun around in a panic, completely flustered. No, don't listen to her nonsense, Ethan said quickly. I stared at him coldly. Then explain to me, what exactly am I supposed to think when I see you at the hospital with her today? He hesitated, then lowered his voice. Melissa came here for an abortion. Don't get the wrong idea, the child isn't mine. That stupid girl messed around with a jerk, got abandoned, and ended up pregnant. She had no one else to turn to, so we, her childhood friends, had to step in. Ethan sighed helplessly. Today I came to the hospital with her. David and the others are taking turns looking after her. As for everything afterward, I'm not getting involved anymore. Afraid I wouldn't believe him, Ethan pulled out his phone and showed me a chart. I almost laughed at the absurdity of it. It was literally a schedule. Melissa, unexpectedly pregnant and now having an abortion, had her childhood guy friends rotate shifts to care for her. Who would cook her meals? Who would make soup? Who would accompany her for follow-up checkups? Everything was clearly listed. Ethan's role was to be with her for the surgery, while the rest would take over afterward. See? I wasn't lying. Baby, we're all good brothers. Melissa got into trouble. How could we just ignore her? I drew in a deep breath. Fine. You take care of her then. With that, I turned around to leave. Ethan started to come after me, but Melissa suddenly let out a pitiful cry and collapsed right into his arms. Ethan, my stomach hurts so bad. Please carry me back inside to see the doctor again. The sound of his footsteps behind me stopped. He didn't follow. I clutched my chest, suppressing the searing pain, and forced myself to take a cab home. The first thing I did when I got back was start packing. We had originally planned to take wedding photos today, and tomorrow, on Valentine's Day, we would get our marriage license, but now everything was destroyed. We had only lived in the new house for a week, so there weren't many signs of life yet. I told myself it wasn't too late. As I was packing, urgent knocking suddenly rattled the door. Baby, why did you lock it? Open up, stop messing around, okay? Open the door, let's talk this through. I stayed silent, shoving all the clothes from the closet straight into my suitcase. He kept explaining from outside. Melissa's been dependent on us since we were kids, it's true. But I promise, after this time, I won't handle any of her problems again. Don't be stubborn, all right? You're both women, can't you sympathize with her a little? She came to me crying with a belly this big. What was I supposed to do? His voice droned on and on through the door, but I ignored him. When I had almost finished packing, I opened a drawer and poured everything inside onto the bed. They were the love letters he had written me back in college, one every single day, 600 in total. I had read each one countless times, worn the pages thin. Now, one by one, I tore them to shreds with my own hands. It felt like a hole had been punched straight through my chest. My eyes burned, but I gritted my teeth and refused to shed a single tear. Dragging my suitcase behind me, I walked out, ready to tell Ethan it was over. The hallway was empty. At some point, Ethan had already left. Only an hour had passed, and yet he was gone. How ironic. I gripped the suitcase and walked away from what should have been our new home, heading instead to the villa my parents had bought for me. The place was empty, just me alone. Finally, I let myself cry, sobbing until my whole body shook. 7 years of love, cut off in one stroke. How could it not hurt? But I couldn't avoid it, couldn't let myself grow soft-hearted, couldn't try to dull the pain with temporary comfort. I had to do the right thing. I pulled out my phone and decisively sent Ethan a message telling him it was over. My words sank like a stone into the sea. He never replied. Near midnight, I suddenly received a phone call. It was from the police station. "Are you Jenny?" the officer asked. "Yes." "Come down to the station. Ethan was involved in a group fight at the Lanya bar. We've detained him. You'll need to come and handle the bail procedures." I froze. My first instinct was to refuse, but curiosity got the better of me. What on earth had happened? At midnight, I drove to the station and was met with several familiar faces: Ethan, his 4 childhood buddies, and Melissa. They were all drunk out of their minds, each with cuts and bruises across their faces. I forced myself to stay calm and asked the officer, "What exactly happened?" "Your boyfriend and his friends beat someone up. The guy's in the hospital now," he explained. "Why did they do it?" The officer jerked his chin toward Melissa. "Because of that woman. From what we understand, the guy they beat was her boyfriend. They thought he'd treated her badly, so they ganged up on him to teach him a lesson." In that moment, the whole picture became clear. Melissa had gone drinking late at night, and Ethan, along with the other backups, rushed to comfort her. By sheer bad luck, they ran into the jerk who had gotten her pregnant. 5 grown men in their 30s lost all sense of reason and jumped him, then were hauled off to the police station. As I pieced it together, I suddenly heard Ethan's drunken voice slur from across the room. "Melissa, the 5 of us are here for you. Anyone who bullies you is our enemy. Don't be afraid, even if you never get married, we brothers will take care of you forever." The officer glanced at me. "So, do you still want to post bail?" I nodded. "Of course, a scene this big, I can't be the only one to watch." After I paid the bond, Ethan was released. Melissa, who hadn't participated in the fight but had simply gotten drunk, immediately clung to him like an octopus the moment he stepped out. "Where are you going? You're not allowed to leave me." Ethan could barely walk straight, his mind completely fogged, but he still reached out to steady her. "Careful, don't fall." The 2 of them stumbled out of the station together. Melissa wrapped her arms around his neck, drunkenly singing, "Good brothers, together for life." Ethan, supporting her by the waist, already 30 years old but acting like a reckless teenager, roared into the night sky with fiery loyalty. "No one is allowed to bully our Melissa." I stood silently behind them, raised my hand, and hailed a cab. I had the driver take the 2 of them back to the new house. From the taxi to the front door, they never let go of each other. Melissa's eyes were blurred with tears. "Ethan, you're still the one who treats me best. If we had just taken one more step back then, would the ending have been different?" Ethan didn't answer. He just stroked her hair and whispered, "Don't worry. I'll always be by your side, your strongest support." Drunken words are often the truest, and the 2 of them poured out everything they had been hiding in their hearts. I stood off to the side, quietly recording it all. Then I sent the video straight into Ethan's family group chat. It was like throwing a bomb into still water. The explosion of chaos was immediate. "What's going on? Who's that woman?" "Jenny, did you and Ethan have a fight?" I replied calmly. "Please come over right away." And I said nothing more. By 4 a.m., a sharp, urgent knock rattled the door. Ethan's mother showed up still in her pajamas, clearly rushed and panicked. "Jenny, what on earth is going on?" I led his parents into the bedroom. There, on our bed, lay Ethan and Melissa. Her dress had ridden up all the way to her chest, and his face was smeared with lipstick marks. Ethan's parents went pale with fury. "You bastard," his father barked. "Get up right now." But Ethan was too drunk to react. No matter how his parents yelled, he didn't stir. I walked silently into the bathroom, filled a basin with cold water, and returned to the bedroom. Without hesitation, I dumped it over the bed. A sharp scream split the air. Ethan and Melissa both jerked awake, springing upright instantly. I looked at Ethan calmly and handed him some hangover pills. "Don't sleep. It's time we solved this." About half an hour after taking the pills, Ethan finally sobered up. His face was ghostly pale, one hand pressed hard against his temple. "Mom, Dad, why are you both here?" His mother's response was a slap so fierce it knocked him to the floor. "You disgraceful fool. Do you even know what you did last night?" Stunned, Ethan turned his head toward Melissa, disheveled and exposed, and guilt flickered through his eyes. "That was all I needed to know," he remembered. "It was an accident," he stammered. "I drank too much, I crossed a line, but nothing happened between Melissa and me. Jenny, I swear nothing happened. If I ever did something to betray you, may I be hit by a car and die on the spot." I looked at him quietly. His face was full of sincerity as he swore, but I'd heard words like that from him more than once. I couldn't believe anymore. "Ethan, did you see the messages I sent you?" I asked. He scratched his head awkwardly. "My phone died last night." "Fine. Then let me say it to your face." I steadied my voice. "Ethan, we're over." He froze, shaking his head instinctively. "Don't joke like that. After all these years, you'd really throw it away over a misunderstanding?" "You know better than anyone whether this is a misunderstanding," I said coldly. I didn't want to argue anymore. I pulled out my phone and sent a message straight into the group chat with both our parents and relatives. "Dear family and friends, I'm sorry to inform you that Ethan and I have canceled the wedding. We have broken up peacefully. Thank you for your concern." "Jenny, what the hell are you saying? Did I agree to break up?" He lunged for my phone, trying to retract the message, but I held tight. After a brief struggle, the phone fell to the floor and the screen shattered into pieces. Ethan panted heavily, exhaustion etched across his face. "Jenny, how many times do I have to explain? Melissa and I are just friends. Brothers. Since I've been with you, I haven't even touched another woman's hand. Go ask around. What man is as clean as I am? I've done everything I could, and just because I have one female friend, you can't handle it?" Melissa, who had been standing silently until then, suddenly spoke up for him. "Jenny, I honestly think you're pathetic. How insecure are you, to be this jealous of me, to the point of breaking up with Ethan? Or maybe you're just controlling, you can't stand your boyfriend having any female friends. Isn't that it?" I turned my eyes on Melissa. Word by word, I said clearly, "I'm not insecure about other women. I'm just exposing the mistress." Ethan's eyes flickered, and his voice rose. "What the hell do you mean by that? You've got no proof, don't dump that crap on me." I calmly picked up his phone from the table, unlocked it with ease, and opened his WeChat. Last night, they had both been drunk out of their minds. The night was long, and eventually my curiosity got the better of me. I tapped into his account. Ethan had deleted Melissa's main account, but there was still another one. I pulled up a profile with a pink teddy bear avatar and held it out for everyone to see. "Melissa, I found your burner account." The chats between Ethan and Melissa were constant, messages every single day. They shared food, music, and movies, even made plans to go to concerts together. On the 6th of last month, I was hospitalized for a piercing infection. "You told me you had to work overtime at the office, but in reality, you went with Melissa to a concert. On the 3rd of this month, when both of our parents were supposed to meet to discuss the wedding banquet, you said you had to leave town for 2 days on business. Instead, You stayed out all night drinking with Melissa, and afterward the two of you checked into a hotel. The chat log even spelled out how many times you slept together the night before. Yes, the tone of your daily messages looked like close friends, but when it came to booking hotel rooms, you were anything but vague. You treated it like some kind of stress relief, an outlet for your desires, only to pull up your pants after and keep calling each other good brothers. How disgusting. My tone was flat as I spoke, as if I were retelling someone else's story. Even I was surprised at how calm I sounded while exposing such cruel truths. There were too many records like this. You had a physical relationship behind my back, yet you still swore to me your friendship was pure. I laughed bitterly at Ethan. We've been together for 7 years. Why would you ever think I'm such a fool? No, it's not like that. His face went pale as paper. Like a madman, he lunged to grab the phone from me, terrified because it contained all the evidence of his cheating. After a brief struggle, I handed it back. He instantly lost control and smashed it hard onto the floor. It doesn't matter. Break it if you want. I've already saved screenshots of every single one of your little conversations, I told him coolly. Jenny, don't do this, please, he begged, his voice low and pitiful. Everyone makes mistakes. People act on impulse. People get confused sometimes. I swear I'll never do it again. I swear. Another oath. I sighed lightly, feeling tired more than angry. Your promises are worth less than toilet paper now, Ethan. Stop talking. We're done. He tried to cling on, but before he could speak further, Melissa suddenly clutched her stomach and cried out in pain. Ethan, my stomach hurts so much. Please take me to the hospital. She curled up, drenched in sweat. Ethan immediately panicked. His father stomped his foot in fury. You worthless brat. Even now, you're still worrying about her? Whether she lives or dies, what's it got to do with you? But Ethan didn't hear a word. The moment Melissa cried out, he forgot everything else. He scooped her into his arms, heading downstairs in a rush. Before leaving, he even had the nerve to turn back and say, Jenny, Melissa's in pain. I can't just abandon her. We'll talk when I get back. I almost laughed at how ridiculous he was. He really thought he still had a chance to talk things through with me. I stared at his retreating back. Ethan's mother looked at me with an expression full of disappointment, as if hating iron for not becoming steel. Jenny, listen to me. Don't lower yourself to his level. That boy has been blinded by that vixen. When he comes back, we'll teach him a good lesson. In the Meng family, we only recognize you as our daughter-in-law. I gently pulled my hand from hers. Mrs. Meng, there's no need to say more. I've already made up my mind. Since Ethan has been too timing, I won't leave any room for compromise. I will break up with him. I took out my phone and sent the calculated expenses into the family group. During the wedding banquet preparations, both families had split the costs 50-50. I've already canceled the banquet with the hotel. After deducting the deposit, I'll transfer the remaining money to you. And, Mrs. Meng, the gold bracelet and ring you gave me are on the table. Her eyes grew red as she shook her head desperately. Jenny, please, don't do this. I really like you. That useless son of mine doesn't know what's good for him. I'll punish him for you. Just give him another chance. I shook my head firmly. There's only one chance and he's already used it. There won't be another, I continued. As for the house and car, please tell Ethan to arrange a time with me to transfer the property. The car is mine. I'll be taking it. After saying all this, I walked out without looking back, leaving behind the place filled with what should have been sweet memories. When I returned to my villa, my phone immediately exploded with messages. It was Ethan's 4 childhood buddies. They had sobered up from their hangovers, learned about what happened between Ethan and me, and rushed to defend him. We had a small group chat without Melissa, just the 6 of us. Jenny, you're breaking up with Ethan over such a small thing? You're way too petty. Ethan's devoted to you. Don't be ungrateful. A man in his 30s is in his golden years. But you women, by 30 you're already old spinsters. If you don't stay with Ethan, no one else will want you. You should be smart and stick with him. You'll never find a man better than him. Melissa is the jewel of our brotherhood. Whether you accept her or not, you'll just have to deal with it. Message after message poured in, and the anger I had forced down began to boil up again. I had retreated again and again. yet they continued to push and provoke me. Since they refused to show me any mercy, I had no reason to show them any either. I checked Ethan's location on our shared system, and went straight to the hospital where he was. Melissa, after drinking so soon after her abortion, had collapsed and been admitted. Ethan was there, along with his 4 friends, crowding around her bed. She was crying pitifully, tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe I've caused you so much trouble, Ethan," Melissa wept. "Don't worry, as soon as I'm discharged, I'll explain everything to Jenny. I'll help you win her back." David sneered coldly. "Why bother keeping a woman like that? Ethan, I told you she wasn't easy to handle. Let's be honest, after I got married, I still slept around. My wife put up with it anyway. Men working hard outside having a wandering eye is normal. What man doesn't? You've already been more than generous to her, and she still doesn't appreciate it. She doesn't deserve your kindness. Melissa hasn't done anything wrong. Why should she apologize? Honestly, not asking you to take care of her during her recovery month is already more than fair." Ethan sat with his head down, silent. Melissa wiped away her tears and choked. "Everyone, stop. You've been friends with Ethan for so many years. If he doesn't want to break up with Jenny, then I won't push it either. Once I'm discharged, I'll apologize to Jenny myself. I won't let Ethan be caught in the middle." She put on a show of self-sacrifice, and the men immediately rallied around her. "Melissa, you're too soft-hearted." "Ethan, why can't you just be decisive? Brothers are like limbs, women are just clothes, and she's nothing but a pair of worn-out shoes someone else has already worn." "Fine, if that's how it is, then so be it." I stood outside the hospital room and heard every word they said, clear as day. At the same time, I recorded everything, along with the video from the police station last night, and bundled it all together. Then I sent it to the wives of Ethan's 4 childhood friends. Last night, while scrolling through his phone, I had found their contacts. They had all been kept in the dark, never knowing their husbands had such a special female friend on the side. After sending the videos, I also dropped the hospital location pin. And besides those 4 wives, I sent the files to one more woman. The man those 5 fought last night, the so-called jerk, was still lying in a hospital bed. But the truth was, he had been married long ago. Melissa had known it too, yet still clung to him, willing to play the mistress. His wife had no idea any of this was happening. If I was going to see this through, I'd go all the way. I sent her the videos as well. Melissa had built up far too many debts of the heart. It was time for her to pay them back. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait long. Less than half an hour later, the 4 wives stormed into the hospital room together. 5 minutes after that, the man's wife arrived too. 5 furious women, each like a lioness, and the truth had lit their fury ablaze. None of them had expected their husbands to be sneaking around, but the sight of Melissa on that hospital bed was all it took to ignite the explosion. "You little tramp! How dare you seduce my husband? You must have a death wish. Brothers, my ass! I'm going to tear you apart today. You shameless woman." I stood at the door, watching as the women, ignoring their husbands' attempts to hold them back, lunged straight at Melissa. "You try to stop me, and I'll divorce you." One wife shouted. That was enough. The men froze in place, no longer daring to protect Melissa. Within 2 minutes, the screams echoed out. Melissa wailed and sobbed, sounding like a dying lamb. It wasn't until doctors and nurses rushed in that the women were pulled off her. From the doorway, I saw Melissa's face drenched in blood, her once pretty features shredded beyond recognition. She curled into a ball, trembling, and shrieked at even the lightest touch. The doctor asked sharply, "What happened here? Do you want us to call the police?" But Melissa only shook her head, shivering all over. She didn't dare, because she knew she was in the wrong. Seeing that, a sharp, liberating satisfaction rose in my chest. I turned and walked away from the hospital. When I got back to the villa, my parents were already there. They'd seen the messages I sent in the family group and now knew about my break with Ethan. "Sweetheart, are you all right?" My mom asked softly, reaching for my hand. The calm I had forced myself to hold on to cracked apart in that instant. I had been determined not to be weak, not to cry. But the moment I met her worried eyes, I became a little girl again, helpless and wounded. I fell into her arms and let it all out, sobbing until I was gasping for breath. My dad rubbed my back, his voice heavy with heartache as he sighed again and again. Then he couldn't hold back his reproach. Didn't I tell you from the start that this boy wasn't any good? After you two got together, just so he would treat you well, I pulled strings to get him into our company. In less than 5 years, he was sitting in the director's chair. I promoted him for your sake, so he'd remember your kindness. But what did he do? Instead of gratitude, he found another woman outside. That's enough, my mom snapped, shooting him a glare. Can't you see how heartbroken our daughter is? My mom pulled out tissues and gently wiped my tears. Sweetheart, don't listen to your dad. A breakup is a breakup. Better to discover his true face before the wedding. We should be thankful. From now on, just stay away from him. With Mom and Dad here, no one will ever bully you again. I dabbed my tears and shook my head. No, Ethan betrayed me, fooled me completely. I won't just let it go. What nonsense about take a step back and the sea will open wide. If someone bullies me, I'll return it 100-fold. My dad nodded beside me. That's my girl. The next day, under my insistence, Ethan was fired from the company. My dad had originally planned to wait until his project ended before promoting him to regional vice president. Too bad he couldn't control himself. He hurt me, so I would take everything from him. As soon as he received the dismissal notice, Ethan tried to contact me. He called 50 times in a row, but I didn't answer a single one. At that very moment, I was in the villa garden, sunbathing. My best friend had come over after hearing about my breakup, keeping me company. We basked in the sunshine, nibbling on the snacks and fruit my mom had prepared. The sun was so warm, it seemed to burn away the last bits of sadness inside me. Half an hour later, Ethan knocked at my door. He looked a mess, like a soldier returning from a lost battle. My mom didn't want to let him in, but he pulled his old trick, dropping to his knees with a thud. He swore he wouldn't leave until he saw me. It made me think of when he had once knelt before my parents, begging them to let us be together. Back then, I thought it was touching. Now, remembering it, it just seemed ridiculous. A man without ability can only trade away his dignity to get what he wants. Get out of my house right now, my dad shouted. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. Uncle, I beg you, Ethan choked, his voice trembling. Let me talk to Jenny. Just give us a moment. I really can't live without her. Please, give me another chance. My best friend scoffed beside me. So noisy. I agreed, it was unbearable. Dad, let him in, I said finally. Though it had only been a few days, Ethan looked like he'd been drained of blood. He'd lost weight, and I could even see strands of white hair. The more I looked, the more repulsed I felt. After everything, why are you still here? He broke down, sobbing so hard he couldn't catch his breath. Suddenly, he slapped himself across the face, 5 bright red fingerprints instantly swelling. Jenny, I was wrong before. I had no boundaries. I failed you. But our 7 years together weren't fake. I truly love you. I've already cut Melissa off completely, deleted all our contact information. I swear from now on, I'll only be devoted to you. Please, just give me one last chance. I can't lose you. His words were dripping with sincerity, but in my eyes, they were nothing but empty lies. Is it really me you don't want to lose, or your job and your power? Ethan froze, then quickly stammered. Of course it's you I don't want to lose. My best friend and I exchanged a knowing look, then both laughed aloud. Listening to your sweet talk now only makes me feel ridiculous, I said coldly. You were just some poor boy from a village. If it weren't for my father, you'd still be a nameless screw in some factory. With my family's support, you became a director before 30. Everything you've enjoyed came from my family's privileges. Now that we've broken up, you're nothing. Does it hurt now? I asked coldly. You got used to living the good life, and now you can't stand the thought of hardship, right? His eyes flickered, guilt betraying him. Don't worry, Ethan, I said, my voice steady. In this life and the next, I will never get back together with you. You'll never get another ounce of advantage from me. Oh, and by the way, I already had my dad spread the word to his colleagues in the industry. Anyone who hires you will be making an enemy of him. Right now, I doubt there's a single company in this city willing to take you. If you're smart, you'll pack up and try your luck somewhere else. Ethan's face went ashen, his body swaying like he could barely stand. I couldn't be bothered to look at him any longer. I grabbed my best friend and walked out of the house. We went to a luxury pool club downtown, determined to have some fun. With a wave of my hand, I booked 8 male models, handsome, tall, and most importantly, obedient. Ethan followed us all the way to the club. When he saw me draped between men on both sides, his eyes turned bloodshot, his teeth grinding so hard I thought they'd break. "Jenny, how could you do this to me? How could you go find other men right in front of me?" I laughed so hard I nearly doubled over. "And who do you think you are? Who I spend time with is none of your business." I waved the manager over. "Get security to throw this irrelevant man out. Don't let him ruin my mood." 2 guards grabbed him by the arms, ignoring his struggles, and tossed him out of the club. Watching his pitiful figure disappear, I drained the last of my champagne in one gulp. The image of his red, disbelieving, wounded eyes as he was dragged away flashed in my mind. Once upon a time, that look would have broken my heart into pieces. Now it only made me sick. We played until midnight. Then I finally gathered my things, picked up my clutch, and left the party with my best friend. Outside, the streets were quiet, the night air cool. My heart was calm. My phone buzzed in my hand. It was the driver, telling me the car was waiting at the curb. This city was so big, full of interesting people and endless possibilities. Why should I waste another second on someone who had already been eliminated from my life? I took a deep breath and told myself, 7 years. So what? I can afford to lose. Starting over is never too late. Epilogue: Ethan watching Jenny's back as she walked away tore my heart apart. I used to believe she'd always be there, that she would forgive me one more time like she had before. But this time, I've truly lost her. 7 years, we had 7 years of sweetness, of holding hands, of her gentle smile that lit up my world. I had everything in my hands, yet I was stupid enough to look elsewhere. I lied, I hid things. I used friendship as an excuse to cover up my blurred lines with Melissa. I kept convincing myself Jenny would never leave me, that I still had a chance. But now, every promise I made, every oath I swore, feels like a cheap joke. When she told me I wasn't afraid of losing her, but of losing my job and power, it hit me like a knife. In her eyes, I wasn't a man she could rely on anymore. I was just a leech. She was right. I had leaned on her family to climb higher, to gain status and pride that was never truly mine. Without Jenny, I was nothing. The image of her sitting in the sun with her best friend, smiling peacefully, is burned into me. She looked so free, so alive, while I, a failure, stood outside like a fool, on my knees begging, unable to hold on to her heart. I regret it so much I could tear myself apart. If I could turn back time, I'd never have met Melissa. Never blurred those lines under the excuse of brotherhood, never gotten drunk and stumbled into ruin. I would trade every ounce of power, every scrap of status, just to keep Jenny by my side. But life doesn't give second chances. Jenny's gone, taking with her the 7 years of youth we shared, and I, Ethan, am left with nothing but regret, forced to carry this pain alone, remembering the woman I lost with my own hands.